Made by music enthusiasts, for music enthusiasts. This is the India.Aire Company Music Podcast.
What's good, y'all? Ashton Thomas here, and this is the India.Aire Company Music Podcast, the show made by music enthusiasts, for music enthusiasts. Y'all know what it is, and I'm back, back with another video, some more content for you guys, and yeah, as you see, I'm the only person here. Keisha, she's out on vacation down in Atlanta, Georgia, and having a ball, enjoying herself, and yesterday was her birthday, so y'all make sure y'all go wish Keisha a happy belated birthday. She's celebrating all week, so she'll be back in time to record the next episode, but she gave me the reins to go ahead and record today. So there's a few points I want to bring out, but I don't have a lot of time, and I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about them anyway, so we're going to make this short and sweet. So the first point is Fred Hammond's Tiny Desk concert. Not the entire concert as a whole, but just one little snide remark that he made during the recording of it. And he tried to call out the millennials like we don't know anything, or like we don't know good music when we hear it, or like we don't know history of good music or anything, or like we've never heard anything worthwhile or worth even listening to. Well, check this out. For those who didn't see it, before he started the song, he said, "Millennials, y'all might not know this, but the song was Jesus Be Offense," or his rendition of Jesus Be Offense, which was originally recorded by Sam Cooke, which Fred Hammond and RFC, they put that on the Purpose by Design album, which is by far my favorite Fred Hammond album during the RFC era. I'll tell you this, when I was like 10 or 11 years old, we actually got that CD, and in the kitchen of our house, we had this big boombox CD player. And I'll tell you, that was one of the first albums that I would listen to from start to finish and literally lip sync to. So, yeah, we us millennials, we know this. Yeah, but this is not his first offense of actually saying that. I remember I was watching a concert on YouTube. It was back in 2018, 2019, whereabouts, and his Texture of a Man album, it just came out, and he was promoting it. Like, he had the jacket and the disc in his hand. He was like, "Millennials, this is a CD." I'm like, we know what CDs are. Like, we grew up with CDs. We grew up with CDs, cassette tapes. And speaking of which, the other time was when he was on Kev on Stage's show being interviewed. So he had mentioned the cassette tape. He was like, "Well, for all you millennials, a cassette tape is this, and this." I'm like, we grew up with cassette tapes as well. So and then there are two generations after us. There's Gen Z and Gen Alpha. So yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but it really didn't sit well with me with him mentioning that, calling millennials out like we're too young to know anything. But this isn't a slight on him. Like, Fred Hammond is my favorite gospel artist of all time, so I'm not shunning him at all. Like, he's by far the greatest gospel artist in recorded music history. I think he has the most decorated career from anybody, from starting out playing bass with the Winans and then leaving there to start the group Commission and their amazing catalog, and then actually releasing solo albums while still with Commission, and then leaving and forming RFC and everything he's done after that. Like, nobody else has done what he's done. So I'm not well, I was before, but I'm not upset about it. I just needed to bring that up. But I said all that to say this: Black folk, can we stop using words we don't know the definition to? Can we do that? Like, can we just put away with that? Because everywhere I go, or anybody I talk to, somebody's always using a word that they don't know the definition to. Like, they put it in the sentence, and that one word does not correlate with whatever they're talking about at all. So we gotta put it into it, like, and fast too, because it's quite embarrassing. But I just had to talk about that. It was weighing heavy on me, so I needed to, get that out. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about, well, I'll say this, this and the last point that I'm going to mention, they kind of tie into one another. Not entirely, but you'll see the connection between the two. So, I was actually sent a reel of, Jason Clayborn being interviewed on this radio show called The Fix. And he was talking about how he wrote a song for Hezekiah Walker. I think the song is called Better. I think that had to have been the song. And he said he had got snubbed at the BMIs because he thought that song should have won whatever category it was in, but it got snubbed with Tamela Mann and Kurt Franklin's "Take Me to the King," which those songs came out around the same time. And he was just saying about, the politics in the music business. I mean, it doesn't matter how good a song is, politics and whatever else has to do with how successful a record is. And that's kind of a shame. It seems as though politics in the music business is not a new thing, but definitely not all that old. Because I'll say with my personal opinion, going back to the group Commission that Fred Hammond co-founded, they have 0 Grammy Awards to their catalog, with over 12 albums that released from 1983 to 2001. Literally no Grammys at all. And the Winans, which no hit to the Winans, the Winans, they're legendary, one of my favorite groups, but they kept losing to the Winans and other, contemporary gospel artists and groups. And but it's politics. The Winans, they actually had the name and the financial backing. We were just talking about this with my brothers. The Winans, they're kind of like the gospel Jacksons almost. So, I mean, for those who don't know the Winans, I'm sure you know the Jacksons, Michael, Tito, Jermaine, Jackie, and all them. They're the gospel version of the Jacksons. So, but yeah, politics, because they're the most award-winning family in gospel music history, even more than the Hawkins or the Clark sisters. They got it. They got it on lock, and that's just the way it is. So, I mean, popularity. I mean, it's all a popularity contest at the end of the day. So, as messy, well, the guy that sent me that video was saying how messy it was that he would go on the air and talk about it. But as messy as it is, he's 100% right. 100% right, because, and this is something that definitely needs to be addressed in the music business. And this is part of the reason why the industry is dying. Because of the politics, because of the people like the record execs, they don't know good music, but, they know business. And simplicity, I would say simplicity is the other part of the game as well. Because obviously "Take Me to the King" is has a very catchy hook. And the verses aren't all that wordy. And the song is relatable. Truth is, I'm tired. Options are few. I'm trying to pray, but Lord, where are you? It's relatable. It talks about, the trials and tribulations that people go through day to day. So, but that leads to my last point. The Young Miami versus India.Aire war that's happening all over the internet. Young Miami released Spin That, and India.Aire did not have a good opinion about the song. So in case you missed it, I'm going to read it. I have it right here. It says, "I finally realized that not everybody wants to get free. It was a very, very, very rude awakening, SMH, because the mass acceptance of this song is a crystal clear sign of this much bigger truth." And I absolutely 100% agree. It's a very toxic song talking about, really fraud and scamming. And for the young people and people my age, immature people my age that are backing this song, it's absolutely ridiculous, idiotic, imbecilic, buffoonery, all the above. Like, there's no reason why anybody should get behind a song like this, that speaks all negative and anything. But this goes back to what I'm saying about record execs who don't know, who are not musically inclined, but know what sells. Not even know what sells, really. Well, in this case, they know what sells because they know colored folks who mean no good to the environment are going to get behind this song. I mean, I'm being politically correct here. I can't say what I want to say, but yeah, like they know what sells and they know the business. But yeah, this is definitely something that needs to be addressed about. I would say musically inclined people need to start looking at executive, if they're not already, start looking at executive positions in the industry to get the industry back where it was once upon a time. And we were just talking about this on the Devin Morrison album review, Sakura. If you've not heard it yet, do yourself a favor, pause this video and go listen to it for yourself. It is an amazing body of work. Devin Morrison's Sakura. Y'all go check that out. But I think it was either KP or Marlo who said, as good as this album is, it's probably not going to win a Grammy. And that's kind of a shame. Like, literally, this album has had me on a chokehold since the first time that I've heard it. And, it's just absolutely incredible. A no skip album, start to finish. Like, don't skip a song because you'll miss something very special. You know, Devin Morrison is a gift to this world. So, and it's really a shame that he's not signed to a major label. And quite frankly, the way the industry is, who would want to be? Because again, I'm going to make this an overarching thing. Record execs who are not musically inclined, but, know business and know what people will get behind. The mass majority of people will get behind. Us who are musically inclined and understand music and everything, we love this album. So we're the people that need to be looking at getting into these executive rooms, making decisions on what should or should not be Grammy worthy or whatever. But if there's any consolation, and I'm going to say, you're going to hear this first. Young Miami Spin That. Well, nobody's going to remember this song, or nobody's going to give a crap about this song a year from now. So you mark my words when I say that nobody is going to care about this song this time next year, because, music and rehearsal with the Daz band yesterday, he was saying, my uncle, who's the MD for the group, he was saying music is very cookie cutter and forgettable anyway, so, that is the consolation in this whole situation. But as that song starts to fade out, we're going to get another BS song to come along after that. So that's the part that I'm not looking forward to. Cause again, there's always one influencer on social media pushing this song for one reason or another. So, but like I said, this is a short and sweet, and I didn't want to spend all day talking about these. I have a lot more to say, but we're gonna leave it at that. So, and I'm gonna let y'all go. I hope y'all enjoy the weekend coming up. I got a very busy weekend ahead of me. So yeah, this is the Inverhement Company Music Podcast, the show made by music enthusiasts for music enthusiasts. Peace and love, y'all.